The bells of Santa Lucia Church rang over the small Italian town of Belmonte. It was late afternoon. The sun was low and golden, painting the stone houses and narrow streets in warm light. Laundry hung between windows. Children chased a football. Old men sat outside a cafe, sipping espresso and talking about football and politics. But today, everyone was talking about two people. The new pastor. And his wife. The church door was old wood, carved with crosses and vines. It creaked when it opened. People turned. First, they saw him. Tall, dark hair touched with gray, kind brown eyes, wearing a simple navy suit and holding a worn Bible. Pastor Marco Romano. Then they saw her. She stepped in behind him, heels clicking softly on the stone floor. A woman in a fitted white dress, the color almost glowing under the stained glass. The dress hugged her soft, chubby, curvy body, full hips, a generous bust, a round figure that filled the doorway with presence. Her hair was light brown and fell in soft waves around her shoulders. Her skin was a warm brown, her lips a soft rose color. Her eyes were what people talked about later. Light green. Calm. But sharp. Elena Romano. Born in Jamaica. Now, the pastor's wife. Pastor Marco smiled and lifted his hand. Marco. Buon pomeriggio, brothers and sisters. Good afternoon. We are happy to be here in Belmonte. His voice was warm. Safe. But it was Elena they watched. She smiled too. Not too big. Not shy. Gentle. Warm. But there was something else in it too. Something that made the men in the church shift in their seats. The old ladies whispered to each other. The teenage boys tried not to stare. One of them, a young man with dark hair and a strong jawline, sat on the front row with a guitar resting against the pew. His name was Luca. Choir leader. Worship leader. 28 years old. Single. Elena's eyes moved slowly across the room and stopped on him. There, just for a second, her smile changed. It became interested. Then she looked away. After the welcome, after the prayers, after the first sermon, the church buzzed with noise. People crowded around the new pastor and his wife. Sister Maria, an older woman with kind eyes and a colorful scarf, hugged Elena. Maria. You are so beautiful, Cara. We are happy to have you here. Pastor Marco is blessed. Elena laughed softly and hugged her back. Elena. No, I am the blessed one. Marco is the good one, I am just trying to keep up. Everyone laughed politely. The men took turns greeting her. Paolo, the tall usher with a shaved head. David, the quiet piano player. Carlo, the accountant who always carried a notebook. Tomas, the security man who locked the church every night. Each man shook her hand. Each man felt that her handshake stayed a second too long. Her eyes held theirs a little too deeply. Her perfume, soft jasmine with something warm, stayed with them after she moved on. Then she came to Luca. He wiped his hand on his jeans quickly and stood up, nervous. Luca. Welcome, Pastor. Pastor's wife. I'm Luca. I lead worship and the choir. Elena's eyes lit up. Elena. Ah. So you are the famous voice Marco told me about. Luca blushed. Luca. I don't know about famous. I just sing. She tilted her head and looked straight at him. Elena. Humility looks good on you, Luca. Her voice was soft. Slow. It made his name sound like something sweet. He opened his mouth to answer, but someone called her from behind. Carlo. Elena, we want to show you the office. She smiled at Luca one more time. Elena. We will talk more. I love music. Then she turned, white dress moving smoothly as she walked away, her soft, curvy Jamaican figure swaying gently with each step. Luca sat back down slowly, his heart beating faster than it should. He told himself it was nothing. Just respect. Just admiration. Just a feeling. Days turned into weeks. The town of Belmonte had a simple rhythm. In the morning, shop owners pulled up metal doors. The smell of fresh bread came from the bakery. Vespas buzzed across the cobblestones. Old ladies argued loudly at the market, with tomatoes in their hands. At noon, people ate pasta and drank small glasses of wine. In the evening, the bells of Santa Lucia rang again, calling people for evening mass, choir practice, or prayer meetings. Pastor Marco worked hard. He visited the sick, prayed with families, helped young people find jobs. He prepared messages at a small wooden desk in his office. He made notes, underlined verses, wrote names on sticky notes. He loved his church. He loved his wife. He trusted her. Elena adapted to the new town quickly. She learned names fast. She remembered details. She remembered that Carlo had back pain. She remembered that David's mother was sick. She remembered that Tomas had a son in another city. She listened to people. She laughed at their jokes. She put her hand on their arm when she spoke to them. The women admired her style. She always dressed simple, but elegant. A fitted dress, a soft blouse, a pencil skirt that curved around her thick hips, gold earrings, a little perfume. The men admired her more than that. They tried not to. They failed. The choir room was at the back of the church. It had white walls, old posters of past concerts, a small piano, plastic chairs, and a cross on the wall. On Tuesday evenings, it was full of music. Luca stood at the front, guitar strap across his shoulder. Luca. Okay, from the chorus again. Tu sei degno. The choir, about 12 people, started to sing. Voices filled the small space. The door opened. Elena walked in. She wore a dark blue dress, simple, with a thin belt that hugged her soft waist. Her full, curvy figure filled the doorway for a moment before she stepped aside. Her hair was in a loose bun, a few strands falling around her face. She carried a small notebook. The choir's singing became louder. The young men sang stronger. The young women looked at each other with raised eyebrows. Luca's voice almost broke. He stopped the song quickly. Luca. Sorry. 1 second. Pastor's wife. Elena. Please. Call me Elena. I hope I am not interrupting. She smiled, already knowing she was. Luca. No. You are welcome. She walked to the side, sat in one of the plastic chairs, crossing her legs gently. Her thick thighs pressed softly against the fabric of her dress. Her eyes followed him as he played again. They sang through 2 songs. Then she clapped softly. Elena. That was beautiful. You really bring life to this room. Her eyes went to Luca. He swallowed. Luca. Grazie. We are still working. She stood up and walked closer, just a few steps. Not too near. Not too far. Elena. Do you compose? Luca. Sometimes. Small songs. For church. Elena. I would love to hear them. Maybe you can show me after rehearsal. If you have time. The way she said, you, made him feel like the rest of the room had disappeared. Luca knew he should say he was busy. He didn't. Luca. Yes. I have time. The choir members exchanged quick looks. They saw something. But no one said anything. Not yet. After rehearsal, the choir left one by one. The sun had gone down. The church felt different at night. Quieter. More private. The air smelled of dust, candle wax, and flowers from the altar. Luca was packing his guitar into the case when he heard her voice. Elena. So, composer. Will you show me something? She stood in the doorway of the choir room, leaning gently against the frame. The hall light behind her made a soft outline around her hair and the curve of her full hips. Luca smiled nervously. Luca. It's nothing special. Just, simple. Elena. Simple is good. I like simple. She walked in, her heels small and soft on the floor. Luca sat at the piano this time. His fingers moved slowly over the keys. He began to sing in a low voice. The song was about surrender, about giving God your weakness. It was something he wrote on a lonely night when his heart was tired. When he finished, there was silence. He didn't dare look at her. Then he heard her whisper. Elena. Beautiful. He turned. Her eyes were bright. There was something like sadness in them. She walked closer. Elena. You sing like someone who understands pain. Luca tried to joke. Luca. We all have pain. She shook her head slowly. Elena. Some of us have more. Some of us wear a mask every day. She gave a small, sad smile. Elena. Do you know what it means to be a pastor's wife, Luca? He shrugged. Luca. I guess, to support him. Pray. Be an example. She laughed once, without joy. Elena. Yes. Be perfect. Always strong. Never weak. Never tired. Never, needy. The last word came out very soft. He felt heat in his chest. Luca. Everyone sees you as strong, Elena. You always look, in control. She looked at him, straight, without blinking. Elena. Maybe that is the problem. No one sees me. They see what I should be. She paused. Elena. Except you, maybe. His heart jumped. Luca. Me? She nodded. Elena. You listen. When you sing, I feel something true. It's like your voice is touching the places I hide. Her words wrapped around him like a soft blanket. He should have stepped back. He should have stood up and thanked her politely and gone home. Instead, he stayed seated, caught in her eyes. Luca. If you are hiding, maybe you should talk to Pastor. To Marco. She smiled sadly. Elena. Marco is a good man. A holy man. He sees people's souls. But sometimes he does not see his own house. She took a small step closer. Their faces were closer now. Not touching. But close enough that he could see the tiny line at the side of her mouth, the faint freckle near her eye, the soft sheen on her brown skin. Elena. Promise me something, Luca. Her voice dropped to almost a whisper. Luca. What? Elena. If I ever open my heart to you, if I ever tell you anything, you won't judge me. You won't tell anyone. He felt something heavy and sweet settle over them. The room shrank. The piano keys under his hand felt far away. Luca. I promise. Her smile came back. Slow. Pleased. Elena. Good. You are safe, Luca. And now, so am I. She placed a light hand on his shoulder. Just for a second. It was innocent enough. Fast. But both of them felt how easily it could become more. She pulled away and walked toward the door. At the door, she looked back. Elena. Good night, my composer. The word "my" stayed with him long after she left. Luca thought he was unique. He was not. Elena had a way of seeing the weak places in men. With Paolo, she noticed how lonely he looked, living alone in a small apartment. After church, she would forget her umbrella and walk with him under his. Elena. You are so kind, Paolo. Many men would not care if the pastor's wife gets wet. Her laugh was soft when the rain splashed around them. With Carlo, she listened to him talk about the stress of handling the church's money. Carlo. I am afraid to make a mistake. What if I lose something? What if people think I stole it? Elena. I trust you. Marco trusts you. You are honest. That is, attractive. Her eyes stayed on his a second too long. With David, she sat close at the piano bench during practice. Elena. Teach me this chord again. I am so slow. Her knee brushed his. It was quick. It could be nothing. But his hands shook when he pressed the next key. She never said anything that someone could call truly wrong. She never touched in a way that could not be explained as friendly. But every word, every look, every small gesture had a shadow behind it. And slowly, very slowly, those shadows grew. Pastor Marco worked. His days were full. He visited the hospital. He counseled couples. He helped teenagers with drugs, old women with fear, businessmen with greed. He prepared sermons about purity, marriage, grace, and temptation. People loved him. They trusted him. At home, he was gentle but tired. Late at night, he would sit at their small kitchen table with a cup of coffee, reading his Bible. Elena would walk past in a silk robe, her hair tied up, smelling like jasmine, her soft curves moving lazily as she crossed the room. Sometimes he would look up, and his eyes would soften. Marco. You're beautiful, you know. She would smile, kiss his forehead lightly, and say. Elena. And you are tired. Go to bed. Sometimes she joined him. Sometimes she said she still had things to do in church, meetings with the women, planning events. He believed her. He did not ask questions. He did not see the texts late at night. He did not see the way she smiled at her phone. He did not see her in the quiet corners of the church with men who called her sister with their mouths, and something else with their eyes. He loved her. And love, sometimes, is a kind of blindness. Sarah was the cleaning lady. She was 30, small, with dark hair in a simple ponytail. She wore plain clothes, old sneakers, and always carried a bucket and a cloth. Most people did not notice Sarah. She was background. But background people see everything. She saw who stayed after church. She saw who left quickly. She saw who kept coming back. One evening, she was cleaning the back of the church after a long Sunday. The lights were half off. She heard voices in the side hallway, near the small counseling room. She moved quietly. She did not want trouble. She just wanted to work and go home. But the voices carried. A woman's low laugh. A man's nervous whisper. She knew the voices. Elena. Luca. Her hand tightened on the mop. She told herself she should not go closer. But she did. The door to the small room was almost closed. Almost. Through the thin gap, she saw blurred shapes. Not bodies clearly. Not faces. But shadows too close together. She heard Elena's voice, soft but clear. Elena. You make me feel alive, Luca. When I am with you, I forget how heavy everything is. She heard Luca's voice, low and conflicted. Luca. This is wrong. A pause. Then Elena's reply. Elena. Is it wrong to feel something? Is it wrong to be human? Sarah's heart began to race. She stepped back, trying not to make a sound. Her shoulder hit a plastic bucket. It fell, rolling on the floor with a loud clatter. Inside the room, the voices stopped. The door opened quickly. Elena appeared in the hallway, eyes sharp, breath a little fast, hair slightly out of place. Her fitted dress clung to her soft curves. Luca was behind her, face pale. They saw Sarah. For a long second, no one spoke. Then Elena smiled. Slowly. Too slowly. Elena. Sarah. Still working so late? You are so faithful. Her voice was sweet. Too sweet. Sarah swallowed. Sarah. Yes, Signora. I was just finishing. Her hands were shaking. Elena walked toward her and picked up the fallen bucket. Elena. Be careful. It's easy to slip when you rush. Their eyes met. Sarah felt like a small animal caught in a bright light. Sarah. Yes, Signora. Elena gave a small laugh and turned back to Luca. Elena. Good night, Luca. Thank you for helping me with the counseling notes. Her words were loud enough for Sarah to hear. They were a story. A cover. A warning. Luca nodded stiffly and walked away quickly, not daring to look at Sarah. Elena took one more step toward Sarah. Her perfume filled the space between them. Her voice lowered. Elena. You are a good woman, Sarah. Loyal. Quiet. God sees that. I see that. Her hand rested on Sarah's arm, gentle, warm. Her eyes, though, were not gentle. They were calculating. Elena. In church, it is important to protect hearts. Sometimes people see things and misunderstand. And then gossip starts. And the enemy smiles. Sarah shook her head quickly. Sarah. I don't gossip, Signora. I am just cleaning. Elena smiled wider. Elena. Exactly. That is why I trust you. She squeezed her arm lightly. Elena. Good night, Sarah. She walked away, heels echoing on the stone floor. Sarah stood alone in the hallway, heart pounding, the bucket still in her hand. She now knew two things. Something was very wrong. And the pastor's wife knew she had seen it. Luca could not sleep. He lay on his small bed in his small apartment, staring at the ceiling. Images moved in his mind. Elena's smile. Her eyes when she said she felt alive with him. Her hand on his shoulder. Her breath when she stood close. He turned on his side, angry at himself. Luca said to himself. This is sin. This is madness. She is your pastor's wife. He sat up, grabbed his Bible from the bedside table, and opened it. His eyes fell on a verse about temptation. Flee. The word seemed to shout at him. He closed the Bible and rubbed his face with his hands. He knew he should cut contact. Stop private talks. Stop late-night messages. But his phone buzzed. He looked at the screen. Elena. Thank you for today. I felt safe with you. I don't feel that with many people. His chest ached. He typed. You should feel safe with your husband. He stared at the words for a long moment, then deleted them. Instead, he wrote. Any time you need to talk, I am here. He hit send. He knew he had just stepped deeper into a dangerous place. But the feeling of being chosen, of being special to her, was like a drug. Elena was not only drawing in Luca. She had threads attached to different men now. To Paolo, she sent messages like, Did you get home safe? I worry when you walk alone so late. To Carlo, she said after a meeting, Elena. Only you could handle the church's money so well. You are the pillar here. To David, she leaned close at the piano during Sunday practice. Elena. You play like you are touching heaven. Her fingers touched his hand on the keys for just a moment. Each man, in his own way, felt special. Seen. Chosen. Each man told himself it was nothing. Each man told himself he was strong. All of them were wrong. Sarah scrubbed the church floor on her knees. The tiles in front of the altar were old and worn. Wax marks, little stains from flowers, dust from shoes, it all came to her cloth. She worked hard. It made her feel clean. Her mind was not clean. She saw Elena and Luca in her thoughts. She saw the shadows in the counseling room. She heard the soft voice saying, I feel alive with you. She tried to pray. Sarah prayed softly. Dio. God, what do I do? Do I speak? Do I stay quiet? If I talk, who will believe me? She is the pastor's wife. I am, just the cleaner. She cried a little, tears dropping on the wet floor. Footsteps sounded behind her. She turned quickly, wiping her eyes with the back of her hand. It was Marco. Pastor. He smiled kindly. Marco. Sarah. You work too hard. Always here. Always cleaning. She smiled weakly. Sarah. Someone has to do it. He looked at her closely. Marco. Are you okay? You look tired. She hesitated. For a second, the words were right there. At the edge of her tongue. Pastor, your wife. Something is wrong. But Elena's eyes flashed in her memory. The hand on her arm. The soft warning about gossip and the enemy. Fear pulled the words back down. Sarah. I'm fine, Pastor. Just, long days. He nodded. Marco. We are thankful for you. The whole church. If you ever need anything, come to me. I mean that. She looked at his honest eyes. Her heart broke a little. Sarah. Yes, Pastor. Thank you. He walked away, humming a hymn. She watched him go and whispered under her breath. Sarah. I am so sorry. One Sunday, something small happened. It seemed nothing at first. After service, the church was full of noise and movement. People shook hands, hugged, laughed. The smell of coffee from the back table mixed with perfume and incense. Elena stood near the front, talking to a group of women about a new charity project. Luca stood at the side, talking to David about chords. Paolo walked behind Elena, carrying a box of donated clothes. His foot caught on a loose piece of carpet. He stumbled. The box tilted. He fell forward, bumping Elena's shoulder. She lost balance and stepped back, right into Luca's arms. He caught her by reflex. His hands wrapped around her waist. Her hands grabbed his shoulders. Their bodies were pressed close, just for a second. Long enough. Elena gasped softly. Their eyes met. Her lips parted in surprise. His heart slammed against his ribs. People saw. Not everyone. But enough. Sister Maria's eyebrows shot up. A young girl in the choir covered her mouth. Sarah, standing off to the side with a cloth in her hand, froze. Paolo quickly straightened the box. Paolo. Me despise. I'm so sorry. Luca stepped back as if burned. Luca. It's okay. It's fine. Elena laughed lightly, touching her chest. Elena. Well, now I know Luca is strong. My hero. Her tone was playful. Public. Harmless on the surface. But the way she looked at him, not everyone missed that. Later, in the ladies' bathroom, two women whispered. Did you see how she fell into his arms? Woman too. Accident. It happens. Maybe. But I also saw the way he looked at her afterward. The other woman replied. They went quiet when the door opened. Sarah walked in, holding a stack of paper towels. They gave her a polite smile and left. She stood by the sink, staring at her reflection. Her eyes looked different now. Less innocent. More afraid. At home, in the small apartment above the church, things were not calm. One night, Marco and Elena sat at the dinner table. Pasta steamed on their plates. A bottle of red wine was open between them. Marco spoke about church plans. Marco. We need more leaders. People are growing. We can't carry everything alone. I'm thinking to ask Luca to take more responsibility. Maybe start a youth group. Elena twirled pasta on her fork slowly. Elena. Luca already does a lot. Choir, worship, youth events sometimes. You cannot push him too much. Marco looked up, surprised by the sharpness in her tone. Marco. I thought you liked him. You always say he is gifted. She quickly smiled, smoothing her voice. Elena. He is. I just care. I don't want him to burn out. Marco nodded slowly. Marco. That is kind. You are always thinking of others. He reached across the table to touch her hand. She let him, but her fingers were cool. Later that night, Marco reached for her in bed, trying to kiss her, to hold her close like they used to. She turned slightly. Elena. Not tonight, Marco. I am tired. Too many church problems in my head. He sighed and turned on his back, staring at the dark ceiling. He didn't see her pick up her phone and turn it slightly away from him. He didn't see the soft light on her face as she read a message. Luca. I can't sleep. I keep thinking about everything. About you saying you feel invisible. You are not invisible to me. Her lips curved. She typed back slowly. Thank you. Sometimes your messages are the only thing that make me feel seen. She pressed send. Her husband slept beside her, breathing steady. She lay awake between two worlds. There were now many secrets in Santa Lucia Church. Secrets between Elena and Luca. Between Elena and Paolo. Between Elena and David. Between Elena and Carlo. Each one was small on the outside. A touch. A message. A late conversation. A shared joke too intimate. But inside, they were heavy. Carlo stopped looking Marco in the eyes when they discussed church finances. Paolo started arriving earlier than he needed to, just in case Elena needed help. David found himself replaying Elena's compliments in his head when he played the piano. Luca's heart was now a battlefield. And Sarah carried all this in silence, like a stone in her chest. One night, Marco had a strange dream. He stood alone in the church. The candles were lit, but the air was cold. He walked toward the altar and saw water on the floor. Small puddles. Drops. He followed the trail backward. Up the aisle. Past the pews. To the choir stand. Water was dripping from the ceiling above the choir. He looked up. The wooden beams were wet and cracking. Pieces of wood were dark, rotten. One beam had a long deep crack in it. Inside the crack, something moved. He squinted. A thin, dark snake slid out from the crack and wound around the beam, its body wrapping the wood tighter and tighter. Its head turned toward him. Its eyes were calm. Almost amused. Marco tried to shout, but no sound came out. He woke up with his heart racing, sweat on his face. Beside him, Elena slept quietly, her lips slightly open, hair spread on the pillow, her soft brown arm resting on the blanket. He sat up, breathing hard. Something in him trembled. He got out of bed, went to the small living room, and fell on his knees. Marco prayed, "God, I don't understand this dream. If there is something wrong in my church, show me. If there is something wrong in my life, show me. Even if it hurts me. I would rather be broken than blind." He stayed there a long time. He did not know that the answer to his prayer had already begun to form. In the heart of a quiet cleaning lady. In the guilt of a young worship leader. In the whispers of women in the bathroom. A few days later, Marco found an envelope on his desk in the church office. No name on it. Just "For Pastor" written in shaky handwriting. He opened it. Inside was one sheet of paper. No signature. The words were simple. The English was not perfect. "Pastor, I love this church and I respect you. Please open your eyes. Your wife is too close with some men here. I saw her in the small room with Luca. I saw her with Paolo. I am afraid if I tell you my name, there will be problems. Please pray. Please watch. Something is not right." His hand tightened on the paper. He read it again. Slowly. His heart began to pound. He thought of his dream. He thought of his long hours away from home. He thought of Elena's late meetings, of her tired smiles, of her cold hands in bed. He told himself. No. This is gossip. Someone is jealous. Someone is attacking my marriage, my wife. He folded the letter. He put it in the drawer. He closed it. But a seed had been planted. And seeds grow. Even in drawers. The next Sunday, the air in Santa Lucia church felt different. The sky was gray. The wind was cooler. People came in with jackets and scarves. The worship was strong. Luca led with his eyes closed, but every time he opened them, they met Elena's gaze at the front. She wore a dark green dress, simple but stunning, hugging her thick Jamaican curves. Her hair was down, soft around her face. She lifted her hands in worship, eyes closed, lips moving. She looked holy. She looked untouchable. She was not. Sarah moved quietly with a cloth, wiping a small spill of coffee at the back. Paolo stood guard at the door. Carlo counted offerings in his head. David played the piano, fingers moving over the keys like water. Marco sat in the front row during worship, hands folded, eyes open. He watched his wife. He watched Luca. He watched the small movements. The stolen glances. The tiny flinches. He was not blind anymore. Not completely. When the last song ended, he walked up to the pulpit slowly. He did not carry his usual warm smile. His Bible in his hand felt heavy. He looked at the church. He looked at his wife. He looked at the letter in his mind. He spoke into the microphone. His voice was calm, but low, like something held under control. Marco. Today, I had prepared a message about blessing. About doors opening. But last week, I received something that I cannot ignore. A soft wave of whispers moved through the crowd. Elena's eyes narrowed just a little. Luca's throat went dry. Marco. I received a letter. Anonymous. It says there is sin, here. In this house. In this church. In my own life. He paused. The room was silent. You could almost hear hearts beating. Marco. I do not know if the letter is true. But I know this, God knows. He sees everything that happens in the light, and in the dark. He closed his eyes for a moment. Marco. So today, before I preach, I want us to pray a dangerous prayer. A hard prayer. Lord, expose what is hidden. In me. In us. In this house. Elena's fingers dug into her handbag. Luca's hands clenched on the microphone stand. Sarah felt her knees go weak. Marco. If there is someone here living a lie, hurting the church, hurting people, I ask God to bring it to light. I would rather have a small, clean church than a big, dirty one. His words cut like a knife. He lifted his hands. Marco. Let us pray. People lowered their heads. Some prayed honestly. Some repeated words like a habit. Some avoided God's eyes. Sarah's lips trembled. She felt something burning in her chest. Rising. Pushing. A sentence formed in her mind. You cannot stay silent anymore. Her heart hammered. Without fully deciding to, her feet moved. One step. Then another. She walked toward the front, her cleaning cloth still in her hand. Luca saw her coming. Elena saw her too. For the first time, fear flashed openly in Elena's eyes. Marco opened his eyes and saw Sarah standing there, shaking, eyes full of tears. He lowered the microphone. Marco. Sarah. Do you want to say something? She swallowed. Her voice was small. Broken. But it carried. Sarah. Yes, Pastor. I have to. The whole church watched. Luca closed his eyes. Elena's jaw tightened, her smile disappearing. The world seemed to hold its breath. Sarah took one more step toward the microphone. Her next words would change everything. This is just the beginning. Thank you for watching, guys. Are you ready for part 2?